everybody!
Hi, guys.
Welcome back to another episode of Take 47. Where today we have a hot take because Cole and I actually share this opinion, and we have shared it since we left the theater to see the movie.
Spider-Man Far From Home.
And Wyatt, flat out, in our opinion,
sucked. Didn't like it.
No, not a big fan of it at all.
In fact, I'm more than didn't like it. I left the theater kind of angry.
Yeah, you didn't even during the end credit scene. You kind of just left.
That's true. I got up, walked to the theater doors, and just said my goodbyes.
Yeah. To kind of put this into, a little bit of a backstory before we actually went to go see this movie. I thought this movie looked really good.
Loved the first one.
I genuinely like Homecoming. I know a couple people that personally didn't like Homecoming. Some of them think that it was boring. But I personally really like Homecoming. So when I saw the trailer for this one, saw that Jake Gyllenhaal was Mysterio and all that stuff, it seemed like it was going to be a really, really good movie. Mm-hmm. I was hyped for it a little bit after seeing a couple, teaser clips of, for example, when Peter is sitting and talking to Mysterio.
Mm-hmm. In the bar?
No. The scene where he's on the roof and he's like, I kind of just wanted this to be a vacation. And
right.
Then Mysterio's like, I get it, man. Like, you want to be a kid and all that stuff.
The trailers really played to him being a friend to Peter.
Yeah, and I genuinely thought that the movie was going to be good. So me, Cole, Tyler, who is also a friend of TGB, TJ, who is our subscribed for more dude, and Dom, who has been in a few videos such as the Sonic video, and a couple of our Star Wars reviews.
All of whom were big Marvel fans.
Yes, all of us
big Spider-Man fans.
All of us love Marvel, and all of us love Spider-Man.
So we were not going into this movie trying to hate it.
No, not
I want
at
to
all.
be clear about that.
No,
we actually had quite high expectations.
We did,
which I think played a factor in why it was so lackluster.
I think so too, because this was, of course, before Endgame.
Yep.
And so I was still kind of riding the high.
Oh, wait. No.
It was.
Far From Home was after Endgame because Tony Stark is already dead.
Oh my God, you're right.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. That's, wow. I'm going to be crucified for that. Oh, Jesus Christ. Oop. Oh well.
Big mistake.
Yeah,
that's okay.
Big fat mistake. Goes to show how much I've seen this movie. How many times I've seen the movie.
It's easy to forget the whole Marvel timeline, but
yeah,
that's okay.
So that actually makes more sense. I don't know why I said Infinity War. Because I was already kind of disappointed in Endgame.
Really?
Only because the stuff I actually wanted to see was the last 40 minutes.
Of a 3-hour epic.
Yeah. And while I want to say right now I don't hate Endgame. I can absolutely watch Endgame again.
Yeah.
I just personally think that most of the movie is boring and the fan service isn't creative, the humor isn't great, and then, you get to the last 40 minutes and that's when suddenly it's like, oh my God, this is amazing.
Yeah, it didn't really exceed expectations. It kind of just met them, and it was cool for it.
Yeah. It's fine. I don't hate Endgame, because I know the way some people react to certain movies. It's like, oh, you either love them or you completely hate them, which is stupid.
I really liked Endgame.
Yeah, Endgame was fun, in my opinion, for the last 40 minutes. But that's besides the point. We just ended this massive story with all of our favorite Avengers and our Marvel characters that some people didn't even think were even going to be on screen. Mm-hmm. They thought that it would never ever be seen in their lifetime, and we finally got that. We got the MCU, and we reached the end of
this saga that they built.
Yeah, this massive 10-year saga that they've been building since 2007 or 8.
So what's the perfect way to follow that? Yeah, they use their biggest hero at the moment.
Exactly. And while I was excited for the movie, there was a part of me that is kind of handling a little superhero fatigue.
Mm-hmm.
We've been with these characters for a very long time, and it was kind of exhausting when you think about it. You know, it's like, wow, that was Infinity War and Endgame alone. You're sitting there like, whew, that's wild.
They almost didn't give us a grace period.
No,
to decompress from Endgame, right?
Yeah.
So like the whole journey had been building up to this one point, and finally it happens, and it felt like just so soon they were coming right out of the gates again with another blockbuster.
Yeah, and while I was still excited because we haven't seen Spider-Man as much as we've seen Captain America, Iron Man, Thor, and all the, you know, other iconic characters. So I was like, you know, it'll be nice to see another kind of solo Spider-Man movie.
Sure.
And it honestly seemed like they were going for a more interesting route, where similar to Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 2, where it's kind of like, you know, he doesn't want to be Spider-Man.
Yeah.
But of course in two different reasons. But, you know, Peter, and I thought this was a great premise. I genuinely did. He doesn't want to be Spider-Man because he wants to still have somewhat of a childhood.
Yeah, struggling with his purpose.
Yeah.
As a superhero.
And I think that that's a really, really cool spin on the Spider-Man story that we know.
Yes.
And while that's one of the main reasons I was completely excited for it. And I wanted to see how he would react and things like that.
Let's talk more about that. Let's reevaluate the plot, because to be quite honest, I haven't rewatched this movie since I saw it in the theaters.
Yeah.
And I just want to go through the plot again, and I think that we can dissect it further from there.
I agree. So basically, you know, this is after the events of Endgame, of course. You know, everyone's come back from the snap, and
movie starts out, Peter doesn't know if he can hold a candle up to Iron Man anymore.
Yeah, a lot of people have been kind of like, oh, you know, like, you're the new Iron Man, and he's like, whoa, hang on, guys, like, I don't want any of this. And he's struggling with his own, you know, personal identity throughout, you know, most of the like first half of the movie. And he has this big class trip that he's supposed to go on to Italy.
Yep.
And, you know, it's like, all right, well, you know, we're gonna go, and I'm gonna go without Spider-Man's suit. I'm gonna have, you know, everyone else take care of the kind of, you know, issues that, you know, have S.H.I.E.L.D. take care of everything. He wants to be a kid.
S.H.I.E.L.D. has another plan for him.
Exactly.
'Cause at the same time this is happening, we're introduced to the first of the Elementals, which are the big villain in the movie. So we think.
Yeah. So while, you know, Peter is trying to have this trip, there are other people who are like, hey, we need Spider-Man, and that's basically kind of the premise of the movie. He wants to be a kid, meanwhile, reality is trying to smack him in the face.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, the call of duty, if you will, to help just people in general. So, you know, S.H.I.E.L.D. is dealing with this elemental issue, and they want Spider-Man and Mysterio, mm-hmm. this new hero, to go and to go and take care of these elementals. But Peter doesn't want to do that. He goes, I don't want to do this. I literally, like, this is my vacation, go away. So he leaves.
Spend it with Mary Jane.
Yeah, because he's still not with Mary Jane yet. He's trying to get with her. So, you know, he buys a necklace, and he's trying to wait for this right moment to help her out, or not help her out, to ask her out. And so like, he's trying to do this, and then S.H.I.E.L.D.'s like, hey Spider-Man, we need your help. And he's like, no, I don't want to help you. All at the same time, he's also dealing with an identity crisis, because a lot of people are like, oh, so, you know, since, you know, Tony really liked you, you're the new Iron Man, right? Like, you're the one who owns Stark Industries and all that stuff, and you're going to be the new head of the event. He's like, whoa, I don't want this. So much pressure on him.
And they introduced the very important prop, which is Tony's sunglasses.
Yes.
Which contain the artificial intelligence Edith.
Yes. So we actually watched the movie. And right off the bat, the thing that bothered me the most with this movie is, and I know this is going to sound weird because it's a superhero movie. You got to remember that. It's a superhero movie.
Superhero movie.
The suspension of disbelief is ridiculous. But it's not even the actual superhero stuff that bothers me.
You could believe all the superhero stuff.
I have no problem with Infinity War and everything, the whole suspension of disbelief. I know what I'm going into. I know it's a superhero movie. I know
Sure, it's easy to put that all out of your mind.
My suspension of disbelief
What
isn't
couldn't
with
you get past?
the elementals and all that stuff. No. It's the comedy.
It's the comedy.
Amount of ridiculous. I mean, you think about it, right?
I've been thinking about it.
The scene when Peter is on the bus, right? And they're on their way to Italy, because I know, like, the premise was, like, they were traveling around Europe, but then because of, like, the elementals and all that stuff, they ended up going to a different place. I don't even remember the actual locations, nor do I really care, because it's not actually that, relevant to what we're talking about. But they're on their way to another place in Europe, and suddenly the glasses activate, and all of a sudden it's like, super death mode activated, and he ends up technically ordering a hit on Flash Thompson.
Yeah, that's right. He orders a hit on his friend.
Yep.
Or his bully.
Yeah.
I should say.
And, the whole time he's trying to take care of it. Well, everyone's on a bus, so how's he gonna stop them from realizing, oh, hey, I have Tony Stark's glasses, and oop, I'm Spider-Man.
There's like this drone flying behind the bus.
Yeah, and it got so bad in terms of, like, them actually not noticing.
You remember that clueless teacher?
Yeah, they looked at a goat.
Yeah, that's right.
And that's when Peter took the opportunity to, like, jump out of the bus for a second and, like, shoot it with his web.
Mm-hmm.
And it exploded or whatever. And, Spider-Man's like, whew, wow, that was close, right, guys? And, like, nobody see it. Nobody sees anything. That's the problem, because half this movie
feels like that.
Feels like literally everyone around Peter just magically is so oblivious to the point where it's idiotic. It's really
You're
dumb.
Absolutely right. They downplay instead of making Peter super smart, they make everyone else super dumb.
Yes, and like and that was another thing that annoyed me too, because the reason why their trip kept changing was because S.H.I.E.L.D. kept giving them upgrades to bring Peter to the point of interest where the elementals were going to be.
Yeah, Nick Fury keeps on following him throughout this movie, asking him to be the superhero that they need him to be. He keeps on refusing, so Nick Fury uses his, trump card to change where his trip is headed, and no one knows that it's S.H.I.E.L.D. The teacher's like, wow, look at this, we just got upgraded to this country, and Peter's like, no, that was Nick Fury.
Like, I get it. That's a funny bit. If the teachers were like, yeah, they just keep upgrading us. That's a funny haha moment, right? But then they're just stupid for the rest of it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you're telling me that you just witnessed a giant water monster attacking where you are. That's a life-threatening monster that just attacked you while you were chaperoning a bunch of high schoolers.
Yeah, you're not gonna go home? Call your parents?
Or, not only are you not going to go home, but you're also telling me that their supervision of these high schoolers isn't going to be even, like, more strict?
Absolutely.
Because of that?
They're just still letting them run amok in the city.
Yeah, like, Peter literally isn't even a part of this trip at this point. He just goes everywhere, and the teachers are like, oh, yeah, where's Peter? And then all of a sudden he shows up at, like, the right time, he's like, no, sorry, I was peeing. Like, it's so dumb. Oh my god, the humor is so stupid. And this is what irks me with a select few Marvel movies. And I know that this video is already going to have dislikes or anything like that, but I know this is going to get worse. Absolutely. I hate Marvel's humor. I hate it.
Ooh.
I don't like it.
Someone say hot takes?
There are very few moments in, like, certain Marvel movies that actually, in my opinion, I think do humor right. I like Infinity War's humor. Infinity War was the perfect blend of, funny when it needed to be,
Dramatic when it needed
and then
to
dramatic when it needed to be.
be. Suspenseful.
That's great.
Tense.
Fantastic. Thor Ragnarok, fantastic. That
breath
was
of fresh air.
Absolutely. And I only think that's because of Taika Waititi, though.
Oh, bless his soul.
Not only that, I don't like Guardians of the Galaxy 2. I thought it was way too funny.
I was kind of disappointed in that one.
I thought it was way too forced. Like, the humor I thought was way too forced.
Yeah, it didn't feel natural.
No, not at all. I don't like the Ant-Man movies. Well, actually, I'm sorry. The first one was okay.
Mm-hmm.
I did not like the second one, because once again, I thought the humor was annoying.
You can tell Paul Rudd is trying.
Oh, yeah.
And he does a great job.
I don't hate it's so funny to me, because these Marvel movies, I don't hate the performances in them. That's probably one of the main reasons that's probably the only plus I can throw at, like, movies like Far From Home and stuff, because I really like Tom Holland's performance as Peter. I really like Jake Gyllenhaal's performance as Mysterio.
Yeah, cast was banging.
Yeah,
as always.
As it's always that, like, they never stop the throwing the punches in terms of the power of their cast.
Yeah, we didn't have a Topher Grace as Venom.
Yeah, we didn't have like a terribly miscast moment. I know some people don't like Zendaya as Mary Jane, but I personally like it. I like it. I like their kind of like awkward, like lovey-dovey stuff.
I feel like they pushed it a little too far.
It was towards the end that I thought it was very, very like kind of forced.
Yeah,
they were on the bridge where
really kept the will they won't they going too far, and it felt like Andrew Garfield's performance in the Amazing Spider-Man movies, where, like, I don't know if you remember
you're talking about Emma Stone and
Andrew Garfield.
Andrew Garfield.
They had such awkward tension.
Yeah, and I know, like, technically they were like already dating outside of the whole Spider-Man thing.
Yeah, but it was so weird.
It still felt very weird. I absolutely agree. So that's like one of those two things. Forced comedy, which I thought Far From Home was filled to the brim. There was no stopping point. It came to the point
It didn't feel natural. All the laughs felt forced.
I was like exhausted halfway through already from this forced humor.
Just from having to pretend to laugh at the movie.
Like, there were a couple moments it got like a chuckle or a forced breath out of the nose.
Yeah.
Like, I don't understand, like, why some people are like, oh my god, Marvel movies are so funny.
Far From Home felt like I was scrolling through Reddit and only coming across memes I've already seen.
Yeah, and like, you already know how funny they are, so they're not as funny anymore.
Right.
You're just like, huh, that's it. Like, oh. And I also think that the way that they displayed his Spidey sense not working anymore was the dumbest way to do it. If you remember, it was Aunt May throwing, like, I want to say it was like a banana or something at Peter.
Yeah.
And he didn't realize it was coming towards him. And she goes, oh, I thought you had like that spider tingle thing.
The spider tingle, that's right.
But that's the thing. That is the only time
it's ever been mentioned
that he's suddenly like lacking his spider sense or whatever. That's the only way. That's the only hint that we get.
It doesn't come back.
So then the rest of the movie, everyone's like, oh man, like, what happened to your spider sense? What happened to your Peter tingle? And he's like, no, stop calling it the Peter tingle, like, blah, blah, blah. And then all of a sudden at the last second, which, to be fair, I really like this scene where he technically gets his spider sense back when he closes his eyes, and it's that really cool, like, he's in a black void.
Yeah.
And he's destroying the drones. I really liked that scene. I thought that was really cool.
That was a good scene.
Felt like it would have been more rewarding if they actually had, like, a better reason for, not having the spider sense. Like, if they made it an identity problem, where it's kind of like I said, Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 2, where Peter kind of has doubts. He's kind of not really all there right now. He's having an identity issue, so he starts like
losing his spider powers.
Exactly. If it was addressed that way, which it technically in a way was.
But it felt backwards.
Yes.
It felt like they did the final scene first, and then they were like, we need a reason. We need to create a reason for why this scene happens. And they decided it was because he lost his spider sense, and they didn't try to implement it.
If they, like I said, if they made it an identity thing and they didn't have the whole Aunt May throwing something at him and her going, oh, like, I guess it went away, or something like that. If it was like, say he was having that conversation with,
MJ?
no, not MJ, Mysterio.
Oh, yeah.
On the roof. And, he has that whole scene where he's like, I don't really think, I don't want to be the next Tony because nobody can be the next Tony.
Mm-hmm.
If, like, he explained that, like, it's eating away at him and that, like, he's not really focusing anymore. He doesn't feel like he even has his own powers anymore. Like, is he even Spider-Man anymore? If that was how we kind of understood that he was, losing his sense, that's why Mysterio kicks his ass.
Like, it lacks that depth.
Yeah, because he's not in it mentally.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense. I don't need Aunt May in the beginning for some forced humor. Go, oh, what happened to your Peter Tingle? Just to throw in like a spider sense joke is stupid. I don't like it. I thought that you needed a ridiculous amount of the whole suspension of disbelief, more than most Marvel movies with their forced humor. I thought that everyone around Peter, like we said, was ridiculously dumb for no reason.
Absolutely.
Like, I get having them be like kind of moronic. Okay, makes sense. It's supposed to be comedy, but I thought they were too stupid.
Oh yeah, it was so stupid that I couldn't believe that all of these people were that stupid independently of each other. Like.
Well,
oh, God.
Yeah, it makes no sense. They're supposed to be from a really smart school.
Right, they're all supposed to be like kid geniuses, mathletes, all this stuff, and
you're telling me
all of a sudden they don't know how to read a map or like
it's so
I don't know, open their eyes.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's talk about the villain here. All right, let's talk about Mysterio, because I'm not gonna say that he was without problems, because Jake Gyllenhaal, great.
Mm-hmm.
Great choice.
I agree.
I loved that they put him as Mysterio. And if you were a fan of Spider-Man whatsoever, then you already knew that he was the villain.
Yes.
Even though they tried so hard to make sure that you believed that Jake Gyllenhaal wasn't the villain, he was absolutely the villain.
Yeah.
And that was supposed to be the big reveal, which a lot of people saw coming. And it didn't really upset me because I've always, had one foot in the Marvel door.
Yeah.
But I can imagine that it might have upset some other people if they already knew the twist of the movie before it happened.
Yeah.
My big problem with Mysterio, though, was that his motives just seemed off.
The scene that explained all of their motivations, I thought, was probably one of the worst scenes in Marvel history.
Right.
In terms of the MCU. That whole scene where he finally gets Tony's glasses and
he takes them from Peter just gives it to him.
Yeah. I don't have a problem with that. What I have a problem with is the entire scene afterwards, where he stands up on the bar counter and he's like, Tony screwed us all over, like Johnny over here, and then they have a flashback of like one random scene in the first Iron Man movie that was like this the scientist that was getting yelled at by Jeff Bridges.
Right, yeah.
And all of a sudden now he's technically, that's why he hates Tony. And then like, oh, you were part of that thing, and Tony got mad because you didn't put mustard on his burger, so now you're mad too. So like,
they took all the people that we never cared about.
Yeah, these like black and white flashbacks. Like, it was so corny. And I get what it's trying to say, because Homecoming kind of did the same thing, where it's like, all these big events happen, and these technically these little guys on the ground, these civilians, have to it's the aftermath of all the battles. And that's interesting.
It is an interesting premise.
That's why Vulture, I thought, was a really good villain.
Worked so well.
Exactly. Between, he has a daughter. He has this company that was specifically meant to clean up after aftermaths, such as, the New York incident in the first Avengers, and then all of a sudden he gets shut down and everyone loses their jobs because of Tony. That is a perfect villain arc. You don't have to do something so obscure as, oh, I worked at Stark Industries and got yelled at by a guy.
Yeah, because Mysterio, the villain that Jake Gyllenhaal plays, Quentin Beck, that person, yes, he was screwed over by Tony, but it wasn't in a way that felt authentic and felt like it was grounded for even Quentin Beck or any of his cohorts. He just turned into another Tony Stark figure where he was yelling at all of them for the same mistakes that they made. Mistakes, I say in air quotes, that they made with Tony Stark.
Yeah. The ending.
Oh.
Can we just talk about
okay,
the ending of this? And I'll let you explain this, because this is what made you kind of get up and leave.
Yeah, so what happens is it turns out that these elementals were only ever just projections that Quentin Beck, Mysterio, made so that he could fight, so that he looked cool.
Yep.
That's his whole thing. And Peter figures this out, and he goes to fight Mysterio, and he does, and he kills Mysterio.
Well,
but he doesn't.
Yeah.
And right as he like thinks he does, and he delivers the final blow, and then all of a sudden all the screens in Times Square light up. And Mysterio is like, Spider-Man's Peter Parker. And then he dies. What? He reveals Peter's secret identity, and then he dies. What?
To put it, to like, because it played kind of differently. You got all the points right, but it was when he finally made it to that little bridge that Beck was on.
Yeah.
And, you know, he does that really cool spider sense thing where he's like, you know what, I am Spider-Man, and, like, you know, has that really cool scene where he's, like, beating the shit out of these drones and all that's really cool. And then, like, at the last second, you know, Beck is talking to him, only Peter knows it's not the real Beck.
Yeah.
Because the real Beck was behind him with a gun, and he ended up, like, blocking it or whatever, and he ended up getting shot by one of the drones or whatever, and he dies. And then, you know, towards the end, all of a sudden, him and Mary Jane are together. She knows he's Spider-Man and all that stuff, and he takes her on, like, this fun little web-slinging thing, and she hates it. And, like, whatever, it's kind of cute, funny, whatever. And while they're hanging out in Times Square, suddenly a video magically comes out, and it's
because it's J. Jonah Jameson.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
And,
yeah, they got J.K. Simmons back.
Which is great.
Yeah, that was fantastic. Part of the movie.
But then all of a sudden, it's like... And I thought this was, like, super... stupid in terms of like how dramatic they were trying to make it, where he was like, Spider-Man's real name, and then it like cuts out for a second, and I'm like, why are you trying to make it like build up? We all know what's gonna happen. And then he was like, his real name is Peter Parker, and then the movie just ends with Peter going, what the fuck, and then it just ends. That was the most I hated it. It made me angry. And I know you didn't like it either, and I think for me at least the reason why I didn't like it was because it felt so forced and so rushed that it's kind of like, really? You kind of just made that one massive reveal super rushed feeling?
It felt like it should have been the end of Act 1. I wanted that story, like, that should have been the main conflict, is what I thought. You know, like, his identity gets revealed, and, you know, sure, maybe they're going to do that in the third one, but that suspension of disbelief, that's when it absolutely ended for me. Because I was like, there are so many ways that he can dispute this. There's so many ways that he can disprove this. Like, this isn't as big of a problem as it seems, and they're making it one.
S.H.I.E.L.D. can easily just be like, yeah, no, it was altered.
Right.
Like, we have proof.
Right.
Okay. Wow, that was solved. Like, you... what?
In the age of video editing, and like, if the main villain's whole thing was that he was making projections that looked like real life, then how is video editing...
Not to mention, everyone saw the drones, and I know that he edited it so that way it seems like Peter's the one that was controlling all the drones and that Beck was the one trying to stop him or whatever, but once again, it could still be easily disputed because S.H.I.E.L.D. can come out and be like, yeah, no, that's literally not what happened. Like, Quentin Beck. Easily look up his history, everyone who he's affiliated with, and suddenly, that was really easy.
Let's talk more about S.H.I.E.L.D. What did you think about Nick Fury dilemma? The Nick Fury dilemma.
You mean like the end credit scene?
I do mean like the end credit scene.
Stupid. I hated it. I don't...
So in order to get this after credit scene, you would have had to see Captain Marvel, or at least understand Captain Marvel with the Skrull.
Yeah, the Skrull.
Right? Yes.
Yeah.
Nick Fury in Spider-Man Far From Home is a Skrull, and that is he's revealed to be that at the end of the movie, and it's supposed to be a ginormously big event, and I just didn't care.
It was forced humor again.
Yeah.
Because the real Nick Fury is sitting there enjoying like this vacation on a Skrull ship. And that's fine. But it was the when the Skrull are talking to the real Nick Fury, and they're like, "Yeah, I think it went pretty well. We gave Peter the glasses, and then all this bad stuff happened. But yeah, no, I think it went really good. And yeah,
I just didn't get it.
Stupid.
Why do I care?
There's no point in caring. It's
no,
like,
there isn't.
It's so stupid. I don't know.
They keep trying to set up these giant, grandiose character arcs, movie arcs, and it worked amazing for Infinity War and Endgame, but they did that already. Like, why not do something else? Why not make really good standalone movies? Why not have a Joker in your category? You know?
Yeah. And it is like one of the whole reasons why you and I both walked out. At the time, I didn't hate it as much as you do, and I don't even think now I hate it as much as you do.
No.
Because I mean, I like Spider-Man, but he was never like my all-time favorite, and I know he is for you.
Yeah, I really love Spider-Man.
Yeah, so when you like walked out, I didn't blame you. I was definitely disappointed, and the funniest thing is, you and I are the only ones that didn't like it.
Everyone I talk to disagrees with me.
Yep, but we're like the only two people who actually just didn't like it, and it's weird to me because like I don't know, I thought it was kind of
people were saying it was better than Homecoming,
which I completely disagree with.
I can't even see the merit in that argument, because Homecoming was such a beautifully crafted story with an excellent villain, an excellent introduction to the first movie that this new hero was getting.
Yep.
And then the follow-up was not what I wanted.
No, well, I didn't think it was good at all.
No.
The fact that the whole movie is like a road trip with a bunch of excuses for it to even be remotely possible at all. Like, okay, why are we still doing this? Oh, because this one thing. Oh, okay. That magically just keeps the plot going. You know, if they just went home, this whole movie would be literally just
done.
It would be done.
Yeah.
They would get home, and Peter would go up to Aunt May and be like, huh. Like,
throw a banana at me now, May.
Yeah.
And she'd be like, what?
Yeah. However, there are still things I do like in this movie, and I mentioned this during our Tom Holland episode, where
check it out if you haven't.
Yes, definitely check it out. It's a pretty good one. Where I said that, you know, and I said it here, the performances are really good. And my favorite scene of the whole movie is when Peter snaps at Happy and says, you know, no, don't tell me to calm down because I trusted someone. I gave them something that was, you know, incredibly dangerous, and now all my friends are going to die because of it. So don't tell me to calm down because I'm the reason all this happened.
The relationship between Peter and Happy was a shining moment in this movie.
And I thought that was a really, really nice scene. The climax wasn't that bad either. There was enjoyment in it. Like I said, the Spider-Sense scene, when he finally gets it back, is really cool. I actually did like the moment where Mysterio was toying with Peter when he thought he was talking to Nick Fury and he realized, like, too late that it was a simulation because Fury gets shot and then Peter gets hit by a train. I thought that was cool.
Yeah. Cool moments.
Yeah, because it fits into the whole, you know, Peter isn't really focused. So he's not really
off his game, off his rocker. Moving,
absolutely. Yeah. Those moments are cool. I just don't like the explanation as to why, or like the intro as to why he doesn't have a spider sense. It's because, you know, May threw a banana at him. And that's...
Boo.
Yeah, I really wish it was just explained in a better way.
You know, an interesting point that I heard, or that I thought of, was... this movie was very closely preceded by Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
Yes.
What was your opinion on that movie?
It's really funny because the build-up towards that movie was the exact opposite of Far From Home for me. Where for Far From Home, I was excited to see it because I was still riding the high of superhero movies still, and the ending of Endgame and all that stuff. Spider-Verse I thought was going to suck.
I did as well.
I genuinely thought the movie was going to be bad because it just didn't really seem like the kind of movie I would like.
And let me say, I walked out of the theaters of Spider-Verse, heart aflutter. I felt like I was flying. That was the unsung hero of that year.
I mean, for me, it's personally the best Spider-Man movie ever made.
Yes.
I know a lot of people who actually agree with us on that I hands down thought Spider-Verse killed it. It's just so funny to me.
And so I just want to point out that correlation because I feel like that movie, seeing Spider-Verse after I had such low expectations, made me raise my expectations for Far From Home. And while that might not be very fair, it was a consequence of that movie coming out, and I think that it played into my dislike.
Yeah. And at the end of this, you know what? In conclusion, maybe you don't agree with us. I know a lot of people don't, and I'm sure that people aren't even going to make it through this video, and they're just going to automatically just see the title and probably just dislike it anyway.
But you know what? If you did make it through this video, if you're hearing me say these words, I appreciate you, humble viewer. And I ask that y'all leave a comment below telling us how you feel about Spider-Man Far From Home or Spider-Verse or any Spider-Man thing, as a matter of fact.
Yeah. If you guys liked Far From Home, that's totally fair. If you guys hated it, I would be really curious to see why you didn't like it. It's just, I think I can speak for both of us when I say it's not the Spider-Man movie we thought we were going to get.
Nope.
And that left us a little disappointed. But at the same time, I am happy that Spider-Verse actually was really, really good. And I can watch Spider-Verse, and still be very happy. And that's really good humor.
Absolutely.
I thought that was Spider-Man humor done right.
Top tier, man.
Absolutely. And we can only hope that the sequel of Spider-Verse is just as good, if not better, than the first Spider-Verse. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching.
That's all we got today.
If you guys liked what you saw here, we do have a bunch of other Take 47 episodes. This is, of course, the 7th one, so we have 6 more episodes that you could easily look at. Videos about Keanu Reeves, Adam Driver, of course, the actor of Spider-Man right now, Tom Holland. And
stay tuned for more episodes every Tuesday.
We will see you guys in the next one. Peace out, guys.
Bye.